Alright, y'all, I am back. Not using my webcam because it's too much work, actually. I like this setup, though. You know, this is IntelliJ, y'all. Great Java IDE. Well, let me start some Java code. It's been a while. Let's see. So, the topic is ArrayList for this video. I know you're like, we're just jumping straight into this because I feel like you guys can learn some of Java on your own, but I'm gonna help you with the setup. If you get IntelliJ installed, which should be pretty easy, click on the src folder, kind of see how it's structured. In Java, everything's made with a class. Just click on File, New, Java class, and then we can give our class a name. For example, we can call grade class. Alright, classes are super duper useful. Lots of uses for them. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at an example of using Java classes. Alright, let's get started. Basically, once we have our class here, we can make some variables declared. We can spell that around private. It's private class. No one can access it unless they obviously get access to the class. Alright, we're gonna make a private double, and we're gonna call it grade. Alright, and then we're gonna make a constructor. There are two types of constructors. One is a no-arg constructor, one is a with-arg constructor. It's parameterized. Basically, you put a parameter. We can make a separate class for that, and then give it a parameter so it knows what to put in the constructor. So we're gonna make a public grade. Let's make a double. So double is kind of like an int, but it stores one decimal place. And let's call it G. And inside of this constructor, we're just gonna say this, referring to this variable specifically of grade that we've created, and we're gonna set it equal to G, just like that. Alrighty. Now, outside of this constructor, we can make a toString, which is public string toString. Okay, and then we can return, which we're going to return inside of this class. So we're going to return, we're going to do a quotation. So the quotations, it's going to convert to a string plus this dot grade, referring to this grade. Now we are going to make a separate class, file, new, Java class. And we're going to call this one, we need to call it grade runner. Sure. Let's call it grade runner. Alright, this is we're going to run the file. As you can see, you can't run this file. There's nothing really to run. I'm going to change this to current file. Now see how you can't run this file? The play button doesn't work, but we're going to make this class runnable. In order for it to be runnable, you need a main method. And that is this public static void main string args, just like that. See, now this part right here is green, so we can run this file. Obviously we need stuff to do with it though, otherwise it's just gonna blink. So I'm going to show you guys what we can do inside of this file. Alright, before though we do make this class, there's some import we're going to need in order for this to work the way I want it to work. Let's say we import something called java.lang. This is capital system.out. Normally when you print stuff in Java, that shouldn't happen. Oh, I forgot, y'all, that should be a static import. I'm not fixing an import static java .lang system .out. I put the semicolon in it. Okay, never mind, it works. The only reason why it's grayed out is because we're not using that import at all. Basically, what this import does is, in Java, you always have to print system.out.print, but by doing this, you can just say out.print or print it, whatever you want. Okay, so now that's done. We've got our main method, so let's put some code inside of our main method. Alright, I want to make an array list since that's the topic of this video. Array list. So we always make it like this. Make an array list, then the name of our array list. Let's call it array list. And equals we use a new keyword to define or to create an array list. Equals new and array list. If you guys have dealt with arrays in Java before, syntax is pretty similar for creating one, just like this. And another thing is you also need to import the java.util.arraylist. So I'm going to go ahead and import that as well. Pretty simple, java.util.arraylist. And I forgot the import word. Don't forget these words. Import java.util.arraylist. And this isn't grayed out because we're using it right now. IntelliJ does this. When I use something, it's grayed out. Another thing is you guys might notice if you remember PyCharm. Both PyCharm and IntelliJ are both made by JetBrains, so they might look a little bit similar to you because they're made by the same company. And I really like IntelliJ. It's pretty good. Of course, other alternatives are NetBeans, Eclipse. I've heard of Dr. Java, BlueJ, whatever you want, you can use it. But IntelliJ is pretty cool. A lot of people use it. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and put some stuff inside of our array list. We're gonna take array list, and one thing I want to tell you the difference between array and array list is arrays are dynamic in size. Versus like how in arrays their sizes are always constant. You can't really change them unless you specifically change its capacity of the array. But with here you can add stuff, remove stuff, and you get that flexibility, which just makes the array list a bit better to use. Alright. So ArrayList.add, and I'm going to add a new, using the new keyword, and I'm going to add a grade to our grade function, or grade which we've already defined. And I'm going to give us a grade of 88.7. Alright, and notice how here it says double G. We're passing a value for that double G, 88.7. Remember to make these doubles because we said it was a double G, so all these values we input have to be doubles as well. Alright, okay. Yeah, that looks good. Add a semicolon, and boom. We could now just say out.println. We can print out array list. Alright. Let's go and print out array list. See what happens. Alright, it's been lit. Parsing. And we get 88.7. So we've added an element to our array list, and now we printed it out. Well, let's say I don't, for 1 second, now this isn't grayed out. Let's say I comment out this line, and that's not working. Normally, every time you have to print, you would have to print like this. Run it should still work. It's fine now. 88.7, yeah. But by having this import, now it's gonna be grayed out because we're not using it. But if you do like this, then it has use. So I don't know. I just like this. But if we're not using this import, remember to say system dot, otherwise it won't work. Alright, let's go and add some more elements to our array list. It's a list. Array list dot add. We're all using the keyword grade. And I'm feeling good. Let's give ourselves 100. You know, 100. Alright. If you guys don't know how primitive data types work between like numbers, there's int, double, or I think it's really like ints, you got doubles, you got floats. These are the main ones. You know, doubles and floats are kind of similar. It's just the data type. Doubles can go up to 64. Floats can't do as much really. I'm pretty sure floats are like 32. Let me check. Float, data type, storage. Let's see here. I've forgotten, y'all. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay. So a char. So there's char, short, int, long. You know. Okay. Well, this isn't helpful. That's what website I'm looking at. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's focus here. Okay. So we've got our array list printed out here. The first element. I gave ourselves 100. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add more elements. Array list.add new grade. Let's give ourselves 90.5. Array list.add new grade. Let's give ourselves a, oh, keep forgetting all the capitalized L. And let's give ourselves a 97.1. Obviously, you don't get decimal grades in real life, but wouldn't that be cool? And then ArrayList.add new grade. We didn't do so well. 57.9. So we've added stuff into our array list. Let's go ahead and print out our array list now. It should just have all of these elements inside of our array. You may be wondering, Sid, why is it like this? It's because my print statement is only after the first line of code. In order for it to be updated, I'm going to cut this line, paste it at the end. Now it should print with our updated elements. So there we go. We have our array printed out. Now, let's go and try something here. Let's say I do array list, and if I say dot, this will tell me all the things that array list can do. We can add stuff to it, we can get at a specific index. Let's try that out. Let's do a dot get. And I want to tell the index. So let's say I want it at index 2. And so I need int index. Okay, so this is going to print out the array list at index 2. Well, what is index 2? 0, 1, 2. Remember, always starting at 0. 90.5. Let's go and run that. Oh, I keep forgetting that in order for it to work, we have to do out.println. And let's make this a variable. Let's say this is double A equals ArrayList.get2. Maybe you're wondering why this doesn't work. We need to cast it to a double. Now, let's print out an array element A. See what happens. Because remember, these are ints. We're going to have to typecast into an int. And what happens? Okay, so it says class grade cannot be converted to class double. So that obviously doesn't work. Maybe like Sid, now how do we do it? How do we get it out of specific elements? Well, it's actually a lot easier than doing any of this. All we just have to do is just make a separate print statement where we can just say out.println. Now we can say ArrayList, that's what it's called, dot gets and index 2. And this is going to work just fine. Let's print that out. And there we go. We get 90.5. What are some of the other stuff that ArrayList can do? Let's see. So I showed y'all the add, the get. Let's check out this clone. What does clone do? Alright. Let's check that out. Seems interesting. And obviously, yeah, when it's making a difference, it just prints out a duplicate copy of set array. What are some other stuff we can do with this? So I showed you basically most of how the array list stuff works. Another thing we can do is we can actually use the toString. You can say out.println ArrayList T ArrayList dot to string, convert to a toString. But now, in order for this toString to work, hit enter, or let's go and see actually what happens. Let's remove this line. What is going to happen? 8 warnings. Alright, whatever. And it just prints it out. The toString itself isn't actually doing anything. You could just out.println ArrayList itself. Obviously you can't do it like that. We'll have to create a method in ArrayList getter. Make a boolean actually. Make it return false. Okay. Well, we don't need to do any of that. Let's just delete all this code. That's mostly the basics of an array list, how an array list works. Need to close the class. Okay, there we go. The grade looking good. For array runner looking good. And our import isn't doing anything. What else can we do? That's mostly it. And then arrays are also pretty simple actually. But not too hard to work with. This is how we make an array list. These are how we add stuff to an array list. Let me show you how to remove stuff from an array list. Let's say the array list dot remove. And there are different ways you can remove. We can remove everything. So let's say we do remove all. And inside of remove all, we need collection. Look at that later. Maybe some other time. What else can we do though? Array list dot remove. Okay, so we can remove if. That's a predicate filter. We can remove an index. We can remove an object. Let's say I want to remove it at a specific index. Let's say I want to remove array list at 2. All right. And now let's say we print out that array list. Well, I can just use the out.println array list. All right. Let's go and see what happens. So now we removed the second element, and the 90.5 is no longer there. Now let's say, how would we loop through this? Can't talk. Let's say if you want to loop through the array list, you make a for loop. For int I equals 0 while I is less than. Anytime we want to talk about the size, I think we can do array list dot size increment I. This is going to traverse through the array, right? And I can do here an out.println array list at index I. That's not like saying said, why isn't this working? Well, we can't just do like we have to do array list dot get index I. Now it's gonna work. Now don't comment out this one.